And of course, Derry beat Fermanagh by 3-17 to 2 goals and 8 points in Brewster Park. And Rory Gallagher, I think I'd love to make a comparison with Rory Gallagher. He's like Emmanuel Adebayor. Do you remember Adebayor playing for Man City against Arsenal? He ran the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans when he scored. Rory Gallagher on the sideline, acting as if he's going to war back in Brewster Park, where, of course, he played for Fermanagh and managed Fermanagh. Very interesting.
Yeah, and to be honest, he was celebrating like a madman when the goal goes in. And then at the end of the game on BBC, he was saying, "This is the test we needed."
He's a character for sure.
He is, yeah. And he chose to do the interview instead of Owen Lynch, who actually got man of the match from the BBC. But yeah, that's a thing for another day. But
do you know what's another thing? And it just clicked in my head literally right there with Rory Gallagher and the trajectory that this Derry team is going on. I actually do think there could be a really, really engaging narrative over the next few years. Imagine this, just if you will, that Rory Gallagher continues to build Derry into All-Ireland contenders. And then, bang, Jim McGuinness is hired as Donegal manager. And when Jim McGuinness first took the Donegal job, his number 2, his right-hand man, was Rory Gallagher. And the two of them are both absolute alpha males that want to be number 1. And imagine the story if Jim McGuinness is the man to come back and try and challenge Rory Gallagher for the Ulster throne. Like, that would be one hell of a rivalry if it came to fruition.
You have a great imagination, James, so I'll give you that.
That's a WWE storyline there, student against the master.
Yeah, that'd be incredible, really. But will Jim McGuinness ever come back to Donegal after the way Donegal treated apparently behind the scenes?
Yeah,
it remains to be seen. That's the thing. But yeah, it was a good performance by Derry, particularly the first half. But Joanne mentioned this on Sunday game again early on the show that once Conor Glass went off, they could see 2 sloppy goals really through Shea Cullen at fullback, and full upon him 2 goals in 3 minutes. Was it?
It was 3 goals in 3 minutes.
2 goals in 3 minutes for Shea, I meant.
Oh yeah, for Shea, yeah. That was crazy. And then Derry Derry converted a penalty in that 3-minute spell as well. So it was crazy. It was like Derry played their normal game, and the game actually went, if you saw the preview on, of course, Matthew's channel, we previewed this game, and to be honest, I'm gonna say we called it pretty correctly. Like Derry got their boost right at the start. They went 4 points to 0 ahead after 6 minutes. Then in the 13th minute, Shane McGuigan's goal moved them 1-5 to 2 points clear. That was a trademark Derry performance if we've ever seen it over the last 2-3 years.
It was, but a few things that we didn't call. We didn't say it'd be 12 points. No way. I don't think we would have said. I think I definitely said about 7 or 8. You said around the same.
I said 7.
Thing. 7. Yeah. So, I
12 point. Yeah, no, that's even more impressive.
To be fair, like, I don't think anybody would have predicted 12 points, because we've seen how Fermanagh were good in the league and things like that. But what we did call on that podcast though was Fermanagh's defence. It was leaky. And you've seen it in the first half, like 2 goals, 2 sloppy kind of goals conceded. Like Paul Cassidy's goal, he went straight through the defence, and it was very, very poor. And we were questioning what tactics would Kieran Donnelly come up with here. Will he park the bus or will he go man on man? He went man on man, and we knew what was going to happen, because I even posted before the league final, they could see 11 goals in 7 games. That sheds you all need to know. Like, Fermanagh probably, along with Antrim, probably have the worst defences. Maybe Donegal is up there as well in the Ulster Championship. And that's not a good title to have, really. Tyrone could be up there as well. And yeah, it was incredibly bad for Fermanagh in the first half. But look, they gave their all in the second half, in fairness, like 2 goals. But having said all that, Conor Glass went off. I think a few others went off as well, and Derry folded. Maybe that's a cause for concern going into the Monaghan game. I'm not sure, will Derry be actually happy today that they will face Monaghan, other than Tyrone? Because if they would have faced Tyrone, I think Tyrone would have vengeance in their minds. They're facing Monaghan now. Well, Monaghan would want an Ulster title as well. So
Derry beat Monaghan last year. Again, they hit them with that first quarter where Benny Heron, I remember Benny Heron's goal in particular was one where it was like, oh, Derry are going to run away with this. Monaghan brought it back, and it was a cracking game. But I genuinely believe that this Monaghan side are better under Vinnie Corey than they were under Banty.
Yeah, I think they are as well. And I think they'll definitely test Derry more than they did last year. But it was a situation like for Monaghan last year that I didn't think there was that potential to go further into the Ulster Championship. This season with Monaghan, I see a potential there. You look at the players, the Ryan O'Toole coming in today, obviously announced themselves. Jack McCarron, Conor McManus still looks good at the age of 35 or 36, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Gary Maughan wasn't even on the panel today. Aaron Mulligan didn't come onto the pitch today. Those are two players as well that could come in. So I think Derry will actually have a tougher definitely a way tougher test than yesterday, without a doubt. Like Fermanagh were just off it completely in the first half. They didn't come up to the standards at all. But word on McGuigan, with all the madness with Rory Gallagher and Shea Cullen goals and stuff like that, McGuigan 2-5 yesterday and 1-3 from play. And he was the second top scorer in the whole National League as well. Or third, sorry, Dara Foley was second, but he was the top scorer in the top two divisions, and he's continued that form. And it raises the question again, Seamus, we said this last year as well, is Shane McGuigan the most underrated player in the country? Definitely the most underrated forward in the country, because you look at the tallies he's put up for Derry, it's incredible, really.
And he's so consistent. It's every game Shane McGuigan scores 5 points, 6 points. It's every game. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think he's the most underrated forward in the country for sure. And you could make an argument about underrated player. I do think that a lot of the times defenders definitely get underrated. Like Tom O'Sullivan not getting an All-Star last year was crazy. Like, because I know that everybody does talk about, how good he is and people know, but people don't know exactly how good he is. He's fantastic. I genuinely think he's so good. But yeah, no, there definitely is that argument there. We talked about the crazy 3 minutes, Shea Cullen getting 2 goals. Fermanagh were better in the second half. They put it up to Derry more, but by that point, as you said, the game was done. Derry had taken Conor Glass off, things like that were tellers. For the future now, though, and we will obviously get into a quick little preview of Derry Monaghan, but Fermanagh into the Tailteann Cup now. How do you fancy their chances in that?
It's a tough one, really. It depends. But then again, like they played defensive football against Cavan, and they were pretty much beaten earlier on in that game as well. But for maybe a late rally. Derry, they played open football yesterday and they got slaughtered. So, but will the open football work against little teams at the Tailteann Cup? No, that I think the fact that Clare beat Cork last weekend, I think it's opened the door for Fermanagh, definitely.
I agree. I said Clare would win it if Cork had beaten them. And now that Clare are not going to be in the Tailteann Cup realistically, like I think they will beat Limerick. Then I think, for me, Cavan are my favourites to go and win it. But Fermanagh, I think, could do it. Like, look, Fermanagh beat Cavan in the league. I know that, in the league final, Cavan definitely got the upper hand in that game. But I do think that they are definitely contenders.
They are. I think if the draw goes right for them, I think a semi-final appearance, and we said this during the league final as well, and a second Croke Park appearance for Fermanagh, never mind 3, that would be incredible for the whole county. It'll give the county a lift, and that's the main thing for Fermanagh. And while we're on the Tailteann Cup favourites, like you have Cavan, you have Fermanagh. I think Down are up there as well. We'll see Down in action now next week. That's if they don't get past Donegal or Armagh or any of those sides. Same for Cavan. Like Cavan could easily get to an Ulster final as well. And if Cavan do get to an Ulster final, that will open the door up for Fermanagh to go to Tailteann Cup victory. So I think Fermanagh fans will be secretly cheering for the first time in their whole lives. Will be cheering for Cavan in the next 2 games. So it should be an interesting seeing Fermanagh households for that, really. But it should be interesting.
Yeah, hell is officially frozen over. But so I do think that they are definite contenders going into the Tailteann Cup. It'd be interesting to see how Cavan get on in the Ulster Championship.